Assalamualaikum and hi guys. Today, me and my friend are going to show you guys some video documentation of the story about Influenza A, the one of the virus that rapidly mutate, become more infectious and more deadly. Also, responsible for the all pandemics flu that happened. The story of Influenza A is originated primarily in wild aquatic birds such as duck, geese, and short's bird.
These birds carry Influenza A silently, without showing signs of illness, allowing the virus to survive and circulate for centuries. But the danger grows when the virus crosses into pigs. Pigs are unique because they can be infected by both bird and human influenza strain. Inside pigs, this strain can mix and recombine, creating entirely new variants. This process of mutation and reassortment is what made Influenza A so unpredictable. From its beginning, in bird and pigs, the virus gained the ability to adapt, evolve, and eventually threaten the human population worldwide. As young men trade and travel expanded across Asia and Europe, Influenza A began to spread alongside people and goods. Historical records describe mysterious fever sweeping through towns, illness that moved quickly and struck entire communities.
The most devastating outbreak came in 1918, known as Spanish flu.
First detected in the United States, it spread rapidly across continents, killing tens of millions of people and reshaping societies. Scientists only managed to identify and isolate the influenza virus in the 1930s, which explained why earlier outbreaks seemed so mysterious.
This event revealed the true nature of Influenza A, a virus that can cross borders, mutate rapidly, and can cause pandemic that change the course of history.
Have you ever wondered what causes the flu that affects millions of people every year? Influenza A, commonly known as the flu, is a viral infection that attacks the respiratory system, including nose, throat, and lungs. Unlike stomach flu, which causes vomiting and diarrhea, Influenza A specifically affects the respiratory tract.
The virus spreads through tiny droplets released when an infected person coughs, sneezes, or even talks. These droplets can be inhaled directly by people nearby, making transmission very easy. An infected person can be spread the virus from about 1 day before symptoms appear until 5 to 7 days after becoming sick.
Fun fact, one unique feature of Influenza A is its ability to infect not only humans but also birds, pigs, and several other animals.
This bird host range allows the virus to evolve continuously and occasionally produce new strains capable of causing outbreaks or pandemics. Influenza A belongs to the Orthomyxoviridae family and is classified under Baltimore class 5 viruses. This means its genetic material consists of segmented negative and single-stranded RNA. Structurally, Influenza A is an envelope virus. It possesses a helical nucleocapsid surrounded by a lipid envelope. Embedded within this envelope are two important surface proteins known as hemagglutinin or HA and neuraminidase or NA. These proteins play essential roles during infection. Hemagglutinin helps the virus attach to and enter host cells, while neuraminidase assists newly formed viruses in living infected cells and spreading throughout the body. Influenza A viruses are further classified according to different combinations of these proteins. Common examples include H1N1 and H3N2, which have been responsible for several major outbreaks throughout history. Because of its segmented RNA genome, Influenza A can mutate rapidly and generate new variants. This constant evolution is one of the reasons why influenza remains a significant global public health concern today.
Influenza A is the most important influenza virus because it has caused several major pandemics throughout history. The most severe was the Spanish flu in 1918 caused by the H1N1 subtype, which resulted in an estimated 15 million deaths worldwide. This was followed by the Asian flu in 1957 caused by H2N2 and the Hong Kong flu in 1968 caused by H3N2. More recently, in 2009, swine flu pandemic was caused by a new H1N1 strain. This pandemic showed that influenza A can change genetically and spread rapidly, making it a continuing global public health concern. Pathogenicity refers to the ability of a virus to cause disease and determine how severe the infection becomes. The pathogenic of influenza A depends on the virus subtypes, its genetic characteristic, and the immune response of the infected person. The virus usually enters the body through the nose, mouth, eyes after a person inhales respiratory droplet from an infected individual. It then infected the epithelial cells lining the respiratory tract. Influenza A uses a surface protein called hemagglutinin HA to attach to these cells. Once inside, the virus replicate rapidly using the host cells machinery to produce many virus particles. The most seasonal influenza A infection cause mild to moderate symptoms such as fever, cough, sore throat, muscle ache, fatigue, and a runny nose. However, highly pathogenic strains such as H5N1 can cause several phenomena: attack, respiratory distress syndrome, multiple organ failure, and even death. The severity of the disease also depends on the host immune response. In some patients, an excessive immune reaction known as cytokine storm can cause serious lung damage and worse the illness. Individuals at high risk include older adult, pregnant women, and young children.
When influenza outbreaks strike,
Hospitals and clinics often become overwhelmed as the number of patients with flu symptoms rises rapidly. This places tremendous pressure on healthcare workers and medical resources, making it more difficult to care for those with severe illness. The impact also extends beyond hospitals. To reduce the spread of infection, schools and kindergartens may temporarily close, disrupting education and the daily lives of students and their families. At the national level, influenza also places a heavy financial burden on the economy.
Eventually, influenza-related illnesses are estimated to cause millions of deaths each year, healthcare expenses, and productivity losses.
To minimize these impacts, governments implement several public health measures. The most effective strategy is annual influenza vaccination, especially for high-risk groups such as older adults, young children, pregnant women, and individuals with chronic medical conditions. Public health campaigns also educate communities on preventive practices, including frequent hand washing, wearing masks when necessary, and staying home when sick to prevent further transmission. Because many influenza A viruses originate in animals, health authorities also monitor poultry and livestock populations. Early surveillance of birds and pigs helps experts detect new influenza strains before they spread to humans.
Next, let's move on to the lesson and legacy that can be taken from influenza A. Influenza have taught us how viruses can continue to evolve and mutate as they continuously and actively adapt to evade our immune system. Through antigenic shift with all minor annual mutation, which causes the new flu shot every year, and through antigenic shift, which is major genetic reassortment between strains which have caused the various pandemics.
These tasks highlight how early action is crucial. Through the historical contrast with cities like St. Louis, which enacted early public health measures in 1918, and Philadelphia, which held a massive parade and consequently suffered overwhelmed hospitals, prove that early intervention saves lives and protect healthcare system.
This further points out how societal inequalities and device outbreak, overcrowded housing, unpaid sick leave, and unequal health care consistently leads to the mortality of vulnerable population. Consequently, transparency saves lives. The Spanish flu got its name due to the neutral Spain that doesn't censor their press during the World War I. High infection numbers to protect national pride or economic interests would only lead to the delay in global preparation and consequently cause life.
Finally, how human and animal health are inseparable. Because the viruses can readily jump between wild-bird, livestock, and humans, influenza A demonstrated that high-density animal farming can act as a dangerous mixing vessel for the emergence of new pandemic strains. Now, let's talk about the legacy. First and foremost, legacy that can be learned is the formation of the pandemic playbook. Various non-pharmaceutical interventions, including mask mandate, social distancing, quarantines, and flattening the curve, were pioneered, tested, and refined during early influenza outbreak.
This leads to the formation of the Global Health Governance, World Health Organization (WHO) and International Health Regulation (RHR) to ultimately strengthening international disease surveillance and cross-border data.
Last but not least is the One Health approach. The modern biosecurity now follows a unified framework in which veterinarian, wildlife biologists, environmental scientists, and medical professionals collaborate to monitor animal populations and detect emerging pathogens at their source.
In conclusion, from all that we have learned about influenza A, eradication is merely an illusion. It is because influenza A has an extensive and permanent reservoir in the waterways and mammal. Thus, it cannot be easily eradicated like smallpox. Not to mention how the public health is only as strong as its link. And effective biosecurity depends on global cooperation, transparent data sharing, and equitable healthcare.
Finally, our greatest risk is complacency. The deadliest stage of any pandemic cycle is often the period that follows it. History repeatedly shows that societies respond to devastating outbreaks by strengthening public health system only to weaken or defund them once collective memory fades. That is all from us. Thank you.